Okay, so today we're gonna focus on the Google Classroom for the intermediate teacher. That means that this session is for teachers of intermediate grades and using Google Classroom. So I put a little quote in here from Alice Keeler, and if you guys don't know who she is, she's pretty amazing with the Google. She says, just give your kids to always have a place to start with Google Classroom. So no matter what, when they're doing something with you guys, they can always go to Google Classroom. They come and say to you, where is it? Where can I find it? It's always in the same place. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to log in with my apps into Classroom. And if you weren't on before, I am going to let you know there has been a lot of issues with Google Chrome. Most people have to uninstall it and reinstall it on their computers. I had to do that this morning. And I know a number of people have been having to do that. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. So I'm going to go ahead into my classroom. And I don't know if everybody knows this, but you have the option under people to invite parents into your classroom. So one of the options you have is to invite your guardians in here. So if you have their emails, and their emails could be listed in Progress Book under their contacts, you can go there. The other thing is you could send them a special code, but you have an option to send them guardian summaries. So once a week or so, your parents would get a summary on what their student has done and what is coming up for the next week if you have that out there. So if you just have missing work or work that's due next week or what it might look like, they would get that as an email once a week, which is really nice. And you don't have to send that out to them. They'll get it in an email and they don't have to log into Progress Book because you may not put every single grade for a work that you take into Progress Book, but you would want to put all of your work into Google Classroom to keep it streamlined so everybody would know what was happening next. This would be the place to go. So even if they were doing work in your class that's not necessarily digital, you would want to keep track of it in here. So if you have a student that's absent and they're like, oh, what did we do yesterday? They're not going to come and ask you. You're going to tell them, get on Google Classroom, go and look and see what we did yesterday. That will cut down on half of your issues with telling your students what you did the day before. One of the other things I wanted to touch on is please make sure, no matter what grade level you teach, to talk to your students at the beginning of the year about digital citizenship. They need to know, what cyberbullying is, and I don't care how many times they hear it, it's going to have to be repeated throughout the year. We already have videos already out there with little quizzes that they can go through, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. They would just, whichever grade they're in, they would go into Elluminate, they could log in, and they could go through the modules, and they could do some digital citizenship. In the high schools, we definitely have a lot of stuff in there for like plagiarism, and there's one on there for citing work. So they make sure that when they're doing a report that they cite their work. That's very important, and we want to make sure that we cover that. So just make sure you go through that because you're going to have to be revisiting that throughout the year. It's very, very important. Some of the other things that you may not be aware of over here is that you can actually stop your students from commenting. You might know that already over here. This is where you would put it before you have students join the classroom, okay? If you already have students that are in your classroom and they're having conversation that you don't want them to have, under the People tab, you would just check your box, and under Actions, you can mute your students or you can unmute them. Depends on what setting they're on. But if they're already added, that's where you would give that option. But if you go to that cogwheel and before you even add your students, so if you set up these classes for next year, before anybody comes in, this is where you would want to do that. The second thing is if you don't want to show the classwork in the stream, if you want to keep the stream only for announcements and only for things like that, you would want to hide the classwork that shows up on stream. So that way when the students in the classroom, they're not going to see classwork there. They're only going to see announcements such as this is what's due today, or I'm sorry, like make sure you use this link. You could have in there, if you look on there, you might have class rules, your dress code, a syllabus. information they need to know. We're going on a field trip. So leave your stream for announcements, which may help. And then your classwork will be where they find all of their assignments. Are there any questions? I just have my little chat boxes going a little crazy.
Not so far.
Okay. The second thing that I want to tell you is that they have activated Google Meet inside of Google Classroom, which is amazing. So if you're on your classwork tab, you can see that I have it activated in this particular classroom. If you plan on activating it in one of your classrooms, and I'm trying to remember, I think this was a practice class too. Yes. If you go into your settings wheel, down here at the bottom where it says Meet, do you see that? There is nothing there. I would have to generate a link. Once I generate that and I hit save, when I go out to my classwork tab, it shows up at the top now. So here's where you can connect that, and it's going to start one for you, and then you can invite people as you go along. So if I hit join now, you can go ahead and add your people and send them an invitation. So this is where that icon shows up. I just want everybody to be aware of that. And that's something you have to add. It's not going to automatically add itself. One of the other things that you may think about doing at the beginning of the year is if you have students that are coming from somewhere where they didn't use a Chromebook, you might want to make a screencast or some kind of recording at the beginning of the year on how they open assignments. Because a lot of students don't realize that once they go in here and they have an assignment and you click on your classwork, they may have to add their work over here. They may not know that. They may not know that they have to click again on it to open up the tab. There's a lot of things that they may not know that you can make a recording one time and voila, you're done. That way, if you do get a new student throughout the year, you just tell them to revisit that video that you created at the beginning of the year, and you can use it from year to year to year. It's really nice as far as keeping your class organized and having a place for them to go to figure out what they need to do. The other reason why you might want to put all your classwork in here is that you can make an organized stream for your students. One of the options you might want to do is make a topic called Today. That way they know when they come in that these are the things that they must do for you today. When they're done, you would just go to the three dots and hit edit. And now I can put this under the topic where I feel it needs to go. So if I feel like it should be in classroom, I can put it in classroom, and it falls under the classroom topic now where it should be. But now they know the assignments that they have due for you today. So it's kind of nice to use that topic and create it just for your own personal sanity. If you create new topics, this might move also. So if I went in and I created a topic for this one, and I don't pin it, and I hit save, if I don't pin this to the top or move it to the top, it's just going to move down. So I would just have to click on it and hit move up so it stays at the top, so they know every day when they come in that that assignment is in there.
Tiffany.
Yes.
Just to let everyone know, everything is drag and drop now. So if you want to drag and drop your topics, or if you want to drag and drop your assignments, you can.
Sweet. Definitely do that. Organize, organize, organize. One of the other things that's really good, and Rachel, since you're already on, I don't know if you want to talk about this, is the audio notes. Because your Google Classroom is just your place to house everything. So if you think of Google Classroom as your student's desk, and they have all their books in the desk, your assignments are going to be the books or the papers or whatever they pull out to turn into you. So this is where you keep everything organized. So one of your options when you are, and I'm just going to use an example for right here. So go ahead, Rachel, do you want to just talk about the two that you had, which is?
Sure. They're both Chrome extensions. So the first one is Simple Audio Recorder. And I know that Tiffany had
Installed it already.
Mhm.
And it's right here.
So basically, if you click on it, it will start recording immediately. You can see that it's counting up. And then whenever you're done recording, you can just click on it again and it will stop. And so then it'll be in your downloads folder. If you go into Classroom, like under your assignment or in the stream or whatever, you can add that audio to any assignment.
Can I wonder if I can drag it?
It will start recording immediately. You can see that it's counting up. My voice.
Sorry,
I know.
can't. I thought I could drag it, but I guess not. I was thinking, hey, maybe I can drag it. Not happening.
That would be awesome. But
I know. Well, when you said make it, draggable, you never know.
Well, they've done that for the classwork. At some point, I hope that they have a native audio. The second one that I'm going to let you go ahead and finish doing that.
Sorry, I was going to put it in, but it's
no worries.
It's under, I think it's here.
Yeah. So while she's doing that, I'm going to say in Google Slides, you can put audio on any slide, anywhere. Like you can have a picture and then put audio on top of it, or like take a picture of a book and then put audio next to it. The only thing with Google Slides is you're going to, instead of just leaving it in the downloads folder, you're going to have to put it into your Google Drive and then attach it from there. So the next thing is the Mote Chrome extension. This works in any place, any Google app that you can make a comment. So in Docs, in Sheets, I believe, in Slides, and they just pushed it out for Google Classroom. So you see the little purple thing there? If she clicks it, it's a 60-second recording. So you can see that it's starting to record. Whenever she decides to click done, it will automatically transcribe the words once she clicks comment. And if the transcription is incorrect, you see in the bottom right corner, it says edit. And you can change the word. But they can listen to your voice and they can read it. And in Classroom, it only works like if you're commenting on their work samples or when you're giving them their grade. Are there any questions about any of that?
I don't see anything.
Okay. Okay, so one of the most important things, and I don't know if you guys have done this. Oh, and I wanted to make sure to say to you, Brian, you would have to be using Chrome on your Mac in order to install these extensions, just so you know. That's where it would have to be. You can't use your iPad for the Chrome extensions. So we have down here ideas for student response, because the whole idea of Google Classroom is how are you going to use it? What are some things that, how can you make your life easier? So one thing is to teach your students to take a screenshot. With an iPad, it's really easy. They just click 2 buttons and then they can upload it, and it's fantastic. If you have somebody that has a Chromebook, you have to teach your students how to take a screenshot. I put a link in here specifically for the Chromebook that you can scroll down, and it says hold control and switch windows, and it shows you which 2 keys the students have to hold down, and it will do the whole screen. If they hold Control, Shift, and the switch key window, it will do partial screen. So that's something to start teaching your students if you want them to start uploading screenshots or pictures to use during class. The other thing that we have in here is for them to take a photo of their work. So maybe you're giving them a piece of work and you maybe want them to take a picture of it so you can annotate on it or do something else. If you have a Chromebook, we do not allow the cameras to be open. So you're going to have to use an application that allows the students to open the camera. So you would have to give them something like Flipgrid, where they could open the camera to take a picture of whatever it is that they have. So I want you to know that on a Chromebook, we have it set where that camera is not automatically open. I don't know if they would ever do any work if we open that, and all they would do is just take pictures of themselves. So that's very important. The other thing is definitely make sure you teach them to upload. This is something you need to teach them. This is not, they're not going to automatically know how to do that. So if I'm in a class, So I'm going to go down to a class where I'm a student, and I needed to upload pictures or something like that. I'm going to unsubmit this so I can turn something else into her. I need to make sure that I hit add or create. So I can go in, I can pick a file from my computer, I can link a website, or I can add something from Drive. If I'm going to add a file, if I took a screenshot, they're going to have to actually select from their Google Drive. On a Chromebook, it saves it into Drive, into their downloads. So they're going to have to know where to go find that screenshot in order to upload it into Google Classroom. And I can tell you a lot of the 8th graders probably already know how to do that, because I've seen a lot of screensavers that are on there that they've taken from different websites. The other thing that's really important that I know we've talked about before is that you want to make sure that you give a copy of classwork to every student. That way, when you create your assignment, and I'm just going to name this, oh, I already have one, so this is going to be number 3 for today, and I put my instructions in here. When I add my doc from Google Drive, I'm going to add this in here. You have this right here. Students can view a file. Please make sure you choose make a copy for each student. If you do that, then when the student gets it, they have their own copy and they can write answers on it. They can edit it. They can change it. They don't have to make a copy of it and then attach it. You can see in real time what they are working on. So if I choose this assignment, and of course I put it under today's topic and I make it due on Friday and I assign it, hoping it doesn't take as long as it did this morning. When I go in as a teacher and you take a look and you view these assignments, you can see live as they open up the assignment. I can tell you that not one of these people has opened this assignment or looked at it because there's not an image inside of there of the Google Doc. As soon as a person opens the assignment, it automatically makes a copy for them when they click on it of what they need to do. So that is really important to make sure that you do. Yeah.
Tip, refresh and see if it, because I just pulled mine up on the tablet, but my tablet's running slow too.
Okay, let me do that. Yep. So let's see. So they're all in there now. Let me see, where are you at? So I could actually go in here, and if Andrea, you just want to put your name in there somewhere at the top, I can watch her from my desk in real time as she's working on the assignment. You do not need to I mean, you should walk around to each student, but if you're trying to work with somebody at your desk, but you want to take a quick peek because you think somebody is not on task, this is where you could go to take a look without actually walking over to their desk and causing a whole ruckus in the classroom, and let them know that they need to get back on task. So you can see that I can see what she's doing automatically. And I love this little drop down, and I'm sure a lot of you know this, where you can just go into the next person's assignment and you can take a look and see what that person just happens to be doing.
Hey, Tiff.
Yes.
2 points. Can you go back into someone's?
Yep, I'll go back into Andrea's.
On the right-hand side, you can see where it says private comments that you have the option to put a note there. It'll load in just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the second thing is Cheryl has a question. Sometimes this option is not available. So do I delete the assignment and do it again?
What option is not available? The option to view the work?
Yeah, make a copy for every kid.
That's not an option?
Yeah, sometimes it isn't. It's only view, and I forgot the other one. Edit.
Well, what if it's a PDF, Tiffany? Does it give them a
I don't
for
think you can do that in a PDF. I think that's the only thing that can't. But if it's anything from Google, it'll appear there to make a copy of it.
Oh.
The only time I have a problem is when it was a PDF.
I'm sorry, I wanted to go to PDF.
Oh, and Cheryl, just so you know, I found a workaround for your issue so that we can make your life easier. So I'll email you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm looking for a PDF, so here's a PDF. Because I think when you put a PDF into Google, you can make a copy for everybody, but maybe when you're uploading it from your computer, nope, I can still make a copy of PDF.
Maybe they upgraded that recently because that didn't used to be that way.
It could be. Like I said, they've done a lot. I don't know how long that's been out there, but I can make a copy of this.
I found that, I'm sorry, I found that with the PDF, once you save it the first time, if you don't choose that option, if you go into edit, it doesn't give you it a second time. You have to upload or create a new one.
So if you give this out the first time and you don't choose to make a copy, then it forces you to do that every time. Is that what you're saying, Tracy?
Wait, I'm sorry. My brain's a little scrambled today, but when I upload a PDF, the first time I upload it, it will give me those 3 options. But once I push save, if I don't push make a copy then, and I push accidentally just push edit it or view it, it doesn't get, if I go back into edit it, it doesn't give me that 3rd option. I actually have to re-upload or create the assignment again to get that 3rd option.
Okay.
Good to
I don't know
know.
why.
Thank you. Does that help, Cheryl? I'm hoping. And that would make sense, I guess, if you put it in there. But I think if you upload it into your Google Drive too, it might help if you're not uploading it straight from your computer. So just as a,
Cheryl says yes.
okay. So one of the other things that I put on here that I don't know if you guys are aware of are when you use a Google Doc, make a HyperDoc. So I shared this folder with you, and I am praying that you guys can all see it because I did not create these. This was created by somebody else, but these are all lessons that you can change, and they're all templates on how you want to do it. So they have writing, math, world history, all kinds of collections. If you go in, you have students that you give them an assignment and they're like, I'm done. What do I do next? I'm done. What do I do next? In these HyperDocs, what's really nice is it gives them steps to go through. So if they're done, it gives them the next step of what you want to do. So if you want them to create a digital read aloud, this will walk them through the steps of what they need to do that. Now, you might want to add your own. And I would go in and check some of these because these have been out here for about 2 years. So sometimes when I go to a video or I go to that, it's not out there, but these are really cool. And it gives them step-by-step what they need to do. It tells them what to create. These are lessons that are already done for you. Please don't try to reinvent the wheel. That was one of the things that I was adamant about. Don't go out, try to reinvent the wheel if somebody already did it and they're giving them to you for free. Is there a
Hey,
question?
Tiffany.
Yep.
Can we add that rather than requesting edit access to that, all you have to do is go to file and then make a copy, and then
Yeah.
you'll be able to edit it.
Yeah, but I shared it. I just wanted to make sure that they could see it, the whole folder. Everything I have in here, you have to make a copy of, but I thought that they could at least see it to bring it over into their, so I'm hoping.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
I'm hoping that happened. You can see Lisa Highfield. She's the one, she wrote a book and it's actually on HyperDocs and it's amazing. And that's how she teaches all year long. But once she created these, she can just use them again and again and again in her classroom. So it's fantastic. One of the other things that you want is a journal. And this is from Alice Keeler. She created this and it's a journal entry. And once the students start to journal, there's a table of contents at the top. And the table of contents will actually take you to that page. So as they fill this in, they would just fill it in and they would journal for how they can do 4 entries, 5 entries. The suggestion that she had, which I thought was really great, is if you have them journaling that they never turn this in, that you have them send you an email after they're done with journal entry 1 and say, hey, I'm done right now. So at the end of the year, you see their workflow, if they're doing this once a month, on what it looked like in September and then what it looks like today. and they would just email you and say, hey, I turned this in. Or you can use a hashtag. If they turn something in and give a comment with a hashtag, then you know to go in there and look for that, like hashtag journal entry. And then you'll go in and take a look at their journal entry. But using hashtags will save you a lot of time and allow them to find things and alert them to it easier. The other thing is that I thought was really cool is that if your students are in classwork and they hit Control F or Command F, and you put that you want them to find assignment 1, it will actually highlight it. Oh, I think assignment 1's hidden from them. Sorry. That was my draft. It'll take them to assignment 2 and they can open it up. So if you know what the name of the assignment is, if the kids know, they can hit Command F on a Mac or Control F on a PC, and they can find the assignment that way. If you have a bunch of stuff in here and they're like, I can't find it, I don't know where it is. At least if you know the name of it or you know the number, they can find it that way. Does somebody want to talk about Google Drawings? Is that
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead.
These are just a couple suggestions. I know I didn't make this, but create a poster about yourself, like maybe at the beginning of the year. A motivational poster, which there's an example there. Definitely creating and labeling a diagram could be great. Create a timeline. I mean, the possibilities are endless, both for students or for yourself. I mean, it's really great for graphic organizers if you want to create them.
Yeah, and there are some templates that are already out there for graphic organizers that are in Google Drawings. And it also gives, if you guys haven't used I'm sorry, I'm tongue-tied today. If you haven't used Google Drawings before, where's it at?
It's only under Drive unless you get the extension.
I thought I had it, but that's all right. Thank you. Now it's not. Oh, because I'm not in my Drive. There we go. So if you go into Drive and you go to your drawings, it is just like a blank canvas. You guys can use this for whatever you want to use it for. You can immediately on the fly just start to type things in here, put pictures in here, anything that you would want to share with the kids. This is how they would share it. If you wanted them to make a poster, like she said, a motivational poster, a poster about themselves, if you wanted them to do a cell diagram, this is where you would want them to draw it and add it. They can go out, they can add a picture. They have the shapes that are out here. They can actually, so let's go to a shape. I'm gonna add my shape in here. Then you can use these little yellows too, that sometimes will let you change the angles of things. So if I move the yellow, you can see I'm changing the angles of the shapes. So if you want them to have a certain size or a certain area, that would be a great thing to use. They can go in, you can make them transparent. So if you had words behind it, this could highlight whatever was behind it. But Google Drawings is pretty interesting if you ever wanted to take a look at it.
And I think we might be doing a training on it in the future, in which case I'll share loads of pre-made templates at that point also.
Yep. Also, what's really great is Google Slides. And I know I've said this before, but like I said, Google Classroom is your student's desk. What you put in here is what you want them to manipulate. And we always tell them, and I know some of you guys have students and you look in their desk and you're like, oh my Lord, what is happening in there? This is a way to keep them organized, to make sure they know where everything's at. So if you put everything in one place, you can upload that, especially when you go into the grades area. I know I'm kind of skipping a little bit, but you don't have to put every single grade that you have in your Google Classroom into Progress Book. You can pick and choose the ones that you want to put in there. So just because they turn in a piece of classwork, you may not give them a grade on this. It doesn't have to be graded. It can just say turned in. But if you want to give them grades on something, like say an introduction unit, and you want to upload that, then you would put that in your Progress Book. Okay, Google Slides. Take it away, Rachel.
I think the first link is the one that you had from Alice Keeler with different examples. No, under Google. Yeah. So,
nope.
So this is an example of an interactive text. Well,
it's this one.
Anyway,
sorry.
That's okay. Okay. So this is just examples.
And you can make a copy of this, and you can just give one slide to your students and they could have to fill these in, or you could copy as many as you want. You could take this one and you could manipulate it after you make a copy, ones, tens, hundreds, however you want to use it. I mean, there's vocabulary ideas in here where they would go down and take the letter and they would move it up, and money, and how they would add lines for their, but you want to create something that you could use over and over again. What's the second one?
This is just an example of, on Thursday, I'm going to be going over Google Slides 2.0. So this is basically an interactive text example. So the background, like if she tries to click and move the question in the background, the number one or whatever, it's actually the background of the slide. She can't. So, and then there's the boxes that she can type her answers in. Well, it's because it's view only, sorry.
That's okay.
But if she made a copy, she would be able to. And then the second example is an example of a drag and drop.
Oh, let me go back.
So I just clicked that, and I know you can't see it. At least I can't. Maybe you can see it. Let me see if I can get rid of the chat. Can you see it? No, you can't see it. Okay. But off to the left, there's words actually that she can slide over.
Yep,
and
make
put
my
in.
screen bigger. I'm getting there.
Okay.
What?
All right.
Or if I go into present. Nope, can't see them there either. Sorry.
But it is there. So
I
So
see
we
them
know.
there. I just can't get to them. And I think it's because I'm in view only. I can't manipulate.
correct. I think the next thing on the agenda is, Pear Deck. So that's an add-on in Google Slides that this is the presentation that I had done before. But you have the option to turn, once you turn it on, you can present it either like a live instructor-led version, or you, right now, it's probably better to do the student paced. And that way, if you add interactive slides that they can comment, like type on or draw on or whatever. I know, I don't remember, Brian, if you were in there, but there's one you can link those PhET simulations into a Pear Deck. Anyways, there's all sorts of activities they can do. They can, the teacher dashboard will allow you to see it. You can see that it's a shared classroom. So if it's a teacher-led one, they would click end on the bottom right, but instead to leave it student paced, you would click the three dots and then click leave session. It'll leave the session open. The kids can do it on their own. This might be good, like if you did like a lesson in Zoom and then you gave them this assignment, then you could see what they did and they could discuss it. You could discuss it in your next Zoom session. Sorry about that. Yes, flipped classroom, definitely. Collaborative slide decks, that's where you have an activity and then each student in the class has a slide. So here's one example.
The only thing that you have to remember is when you give students access to this and it's a shared slide, they can manipulate any of these other slides. So you'd have to make sure that they stayed on task on their slide, but you'd have a completed lesson with each group's information in here at the end. So if you're jigsawing a certain chapter in a book or whatever, something out of your textbooks for science, and each group had to break down one section, they could put it in here and then you'd have a continuous lesson on whatever the topic is. You don't always have to create the lessons. The students can do that too, can create content for you. Infographics.
And then to the right, there's lots more examples. So
Yeah.
here, that's okay. Yeah, having students create infographics is a great option. I kind of think of slides, a lot of people think of slides is the same as PowerPoint. It's kind of like PowerPoint and Publisher all in one. But yeah, so infographics might be relevant. I know what Tiffany was talking about with the journal. Alice Keeler also recommends doing it with Google Slides. So they could journal on each slide, and then the first slide would be their most recent.
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead. I'll let you go.
And then this was, I think Andrea put this was something that I had done with a lot of people at the beginning of the year, where they would do, each student added a slide. And then when they added a slide, it was all about themselves. So you actually taught them the first time how to add a background, how to insert images, how to do a text box, because when you give them these things, you want to teach them how to use them before. I know we think of our students as being technology natives, but that doesn't necessarily mean they know how to use every application. So the first time you give the students an application, you want to give it to them to teach them the application. You're not looking for content so much the first time. So once you teach them how to use the platform, the second time that you have them create something, you're gonna grade it for the content and not so much the platform, because they already know how to do all of these things. Google Forms. I'm just going to tell you right now that this is an amazing way, and I'm going to kind of save this for a little bit. I know I would like Tracy Palmer, I know she doesn't know this, to share the Google form that she sent to her class yesterday, because we have a Google form session tomorrow afternoon that's going to kind of help you create these to collect data for your students. That is like forms on the next to the 2.0, I guess, like, or the next level. It's not just adding questions and then giving it to your students. It's adding pictures, it's adding voice messages, it's making a break, having them go to the next page, and then looking at that data and looking at those graphs and working on them with your kids. So Google Forms is definitely a great way to collect your data and put it in your classroom and have your students find them. Andrea, did you want to talk about Tour Builder?
Sure.
Okay.
Um,
So the link goes to a video, just so we know.
okay, that's what I was looking. I was like, what the heck is the, okay. So Tour Builder, I'm gonna let you get on it, Tiff. Lets you basically, just what it says, build your own tour wherever you want it to do. So like for the little kids, I had them create a tour of how they got to school, and they had to plot out their path to school and label things along the way. You can do, you know, the Civil War battles, and they have to plot them all out. They're allowed to add, you know, photos of their neighborhood or, you know, map. It's endless of what you could do with it, just depending on your subject area and what you want them to know. So, you know, the older kids have to do social studies, the younger kids just need directions and, you know, northwest, east, you know, south, wherever. The one time I did how to get to your to the nearest place to get ice cream from your house, and the kids were like, well, I get mine from the grocery store, or I get mine from Handles, or wherever. And I said, I don't care where you get it from, just give me a place, you know, from your house to where you get ice cream. And they had to plot it all out and map it all out. So like Tiff has that icon, they got to change the icon of where they were at and whatever they wanted. You know, you can make them plot out the nearest hospital on there if they're, you know, new to town, or what, you know, things they need to know. They had a lot of fun with this. It wasn't as boring as some of the other, you know, just getting on Google Earth and looking. It's like they actually physically had to plot like 5 points or 6 points along the way.
I know that just as a thought that there was a English teacher that was reading a book, and it was the book of the traveling pants. She made their students do a tour builder on everywhere the pants had gone, and then the kids had to follow it. So it was actually pretty cool to see how they used this tour builder in an ELA class, which was pretty fantastic. Because a lot of times the kids are reading a book, but they don't understand the location or what it's about or what's there. So it just kind of gives them background knowledge. Some of the other platforms you can use are Flipgrid, Seesaw, Edpuzzle. We have all these out there, Padlet. These should be the bonuses that you add in there for your students. So Our kids are video chat kids. They want to talk to you all the time. You may not have time to talk to them immediately. The link in there is going to take you to the directions on how to set up your Flipgrid if you haven't done it. This is probably one of the easiest things that teachers have been able to do. And I know we've talked about it a lot and we've done it. If you go into educator login, and I'm telling you, your students want to send you videos of themselves. Why? Because that's the generation that we're dealing with. Let them do that, especially now. Put a Flipgrid out there and have your students, you know, tell you, what are they going through right now? How are they feeling? All it is one click for them to open it up, whether it's on a phone or a tablet or an iPad. All they do is click on the green plus, opens up the video, and they hit submit. It's pretty fantastic. So I'm just going to use Erica's right now, but you can see she's added video directions to her students. They watch the videos and then they send her one back. And they are so cute. They're really, really good. Let me see if I can go into one. I'm trying to find one that has this one. So I created this for the new teachers that came this year. I had them all go in and they had to create a video of themselves and just tell where they were from, where they were going to teach, what they were going to do, and they got to use this. It's very, very simple. This introduce yourself is always the first one that comes up every time you create a topic. So how this works, just real quick, our grids are classes. So if you have 8 classes, you would want to have 8 grids. So each of these is a class. Inside of your classes are your assignments or topics. So if I want to add a new topic, I would just hit add a new topic, you know, say hello or how's quarantine. Of course, I spelled that wrong. You can decide how long you want the video to be. You can give them a prompt. One thing that I love to do is add a GIF. I say it with a hard G. I know, might not be right. So if I just want to find somebody waving, and the kids seem to love this, you can go out, you can find the GIF that you want, you drop it in, and that's what they see when they're in there. I'm going to click on more options down here, and there are some things you might want to turn on video moderation. That way only you see the video. Nobody else can see the videos. Also, you might want to turn off student-to-student replies because they'll be able to comment on other people's once they make them active. Those are probably only 2 things that I would warn you about with Flipgrid. And then I would just hit create topic at the bottom. Oh, I got to put something in here, sorry. And then the students would go out. You just share this link right here. You can drop it directly into Google Classroom, which is one of the things I love. I'm just going to go in. I'm going to go into webinars. I'm going to make this an assignment. You could actually make it a question. You can make it an announcement. I would make it an assignment, and I would hit go. And now you're just going to, do we want it to all the kids? Do you want it to some of the kids? Do you want to just give them directions? One of the things that I would make sure that you do all the first.
Tiffany, all I can see is that your topic is ready. So if you're doing something else.
Oh, you can't see that pop-up box?
Nope.
Oh, that stinks. Okay. It's just a pop-up box. Must not be in my screen, so you can't see it. Sorry. So once I hit assign, it actually shows up. You can see assignment 5. And here's the instructions. And there's the assignment that they would click on. So I can do it right within Flipgrid. Easy peasy. Kindergartners can do this. So it's pretty fantastic. Seesaw.
I love when they send you more than one response because they love it so much.
I know, they do. Seesaw is like a portfolio for your students where you can put things. So there's actually a webinar out there if you want to go and take a look at it that Rachel did. It's pretty fantastic. How to create your classes, how to do that. They already have topics set up in there for you of assignments you can give them right off the bat. Edpuzzle also is a webinar that we did, that Rachel did, and it was how to add questions in your videos. And right now, this would be the perfect time where you want to send your students a video and you want them to watch it, insert your questions right now, and they answer the questions right as they are watching the video. If you don't know what Padlet is a board. Oh, this is just to the, sorry, just to the reason why you would use it, kind of like the teacher side. But I love Padlet, and I know that a lot of people that we work with have been using Padlet. I use Padlet to collect that data. So, oh yeah, and you can create timelines with them now. So if you wanted your students to do a timeline on their life, I actually did one on my education. So you can see it starts where I went to kindergarten, and then where I graduated, where I went to college, my first job, how I became a SysOp, where I got my master's, different schools I was at, a YouTube video that they did of the students in my, at Wilson when we were there, places that I've spoken, but this is all on a timeline, which is actually one of the really cool features that they added not too long ago. Another is I would do this with people that came into class. What's your favorite type of communication? Once they start to put these up here, you can start to order them and put them all together. So the students can kind of see in a graph of what kind of things that people like to do more or less, but this can be on anything, on whatever you're doing. They can add, you can see people add pictures, you can add websites. So if this was a question on, or people have also used this to share information. So teachers might put things on here for students to share where they can click. So either way, Padlet is an amazing platform if you want to go ahead and try that. EdSite, I think all of you know about EdSite and the assessment that it's at. It hooks up right to Google Classroom also. It's an easy peasy transition. Definitely take a look at that if you haven't. We also put in here, Rachel made this amazing pre-made templates. Don't reinvent the wheel, okay? You can go out here to Alice Keeler, who people have said they don't think she ever sleeps. And she has all these free templates out here that you can use. You want a jigsaw activity, you can go out, you can take that from her. You wanna have gamifying your classroom, the template is already out there. A lesson plan template, there's all kinds of things in here. Google Drawing and bookmark template, they're already out there. And she has blogs on all of these and gives you descriptions on how you can create these in your classroom and the directions to give your students. So the last thing we want to hit are the extensions out here. So if you have never used these extensions, you might want to start to add these to your Chrome. And there are links right in here. So saving to Google Drive. Rachel, I don't know if you want to go ahead and.
Sure. This is really helpful for, say you find a picture that you want to add into a presentation or a video, if you are able to download it and then save it to Drive. I know that Heather, I think that we worked on that before so that she could download videos that she wanted and save them to her Drive so she could use from year to year. If you have it, you can actually right click on a picture and it's an option to save it to directly to your Drive. Screencastify, I know that Andrea did a wonderful webinar about that so that you can videotape lessons.
Yeah, and that's for the extension.
Mm-hmm. And then all you have to do is click on it in the top and you can start to record yourself. Share to Classroom.
I think I have that.
I think that
That's my
everybody's.
split.
Oh,
Right here.
okay.
It's right here.
Mm-hmm. So if you're on a site and you really like it, you can go ahead and click on that extension.
Oh, where's my 2020 webinar? There it is.
Okay. And then instead of pushing to students, if you click on that, you can make an assignment, you can ask a question, you can make an announcement, et cetera, et cetera. It just makes life easier. And then you have the option to view it if you want to. So we're all about making life easy if we can.
Yeah. Boy, it's going to force me to. Why can't I get out of it? Come on.
I think because you already had an assignment called 005.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay.
Sorry.
And then the last one was Alice Keeler Classroom Split.
Mhm.
And I know that you said that, Tiffany, you talked about students using it before.
So this would be a way that if your students, if you give them a Google Doc that has directions, and over here they need to go in and actually work on the assignment, they can look at the assignment, and in the second window they can start to create in their Google Doc or whatever platform they're using. So this is great where it automatically splits the screens for the students right there, and will open Google Classroom right on the fly and go right to their assignments. So it's pretty cool. So we have some time at the end, and I actually asked a few people to come in here because they use Google Classroom like crazy. But before we do that, real quick, I wanted to tell you guys, if you don't know, right now at Amazon, if you teach math, the Google Math for Teachers is only $2.99 for the Kindle book. So right now, a lot of the books from Dave Burgess's company are $2.99, and they just happen to be all Google books. So Alice Keeler's book right now, if you wanted to go out and purchase it through Amazon, it's only $2.99 for the Kindle version. So if you wanted to go out and just take a look and listen to somebody and get some ideas, their books are actually only $2.99 right now. It used to be just a select few, and now there's even more. So Tracy Palmer, I want to know, are you still there? She's still there?
I don't think
Doesn't
so.
look like it.
Tracy Pinter, are you still there?
I am. Mailman's going by. Give me 1 second.
Okay, because I really wanted Tracy to share some of the stuff that she's been doing and with her students. She's really creative, so I just wanted you to have some ideas from other people, not just from us, that might be out there using this. So if you want to volunteer to share anything that you've done that's really unique, you can go ahead and type it in the chat, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you share your screen and maybe give us some more ideas about, you know, how we can, everybody, because we don't hear too much about what everybody else is doing in the district. You usually just know what's happening right around you or in your building, or if we do one of these webinars. So I think it's just really great to hear from other teachers about what they're doing. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay, I think I'm good now with the dog, if you want me to.
Yep, so can you go ahead and you just want to share a little bit if you want to share your screen?
I don't have anything up. I'll pull it up right now.
Okay.
So some of the things I've done, I teach math, and with the McGraw-Hill, there's a lot of tools online that the kids have access to model, like algebra tiles and all that stuff. So in the past, this year, I've had kids, I've done assignments where they have to model, and it's really hard as an educator to hit every single student, every single group, and see screens. So what I would do is I would set up either a Google Doc or a Google Slide, and I think slides are a little bit easier for students as well as myself to actually use the tool in the McGraw-Hill, but then show the kids how to take a screenshot and insert it into a Google Slide, so I can see and have running record as to the kids modeling it and be able to give feedback. And then likewise also, and I'll show it up in one moment, I'm pulling it up in my Google Classroom. I also use slides, especially with 8th grade, because a lot of 8th grade math revolves around algebra and graphing 1 and 2, or graphing equations and systems of equations. And instead of just doing like a worksheet, I have those writable pockets that you can get at the dollar store or wherever, and I stick graphs in. And what I do is I have the kids' graph equations on there as practice, and the kids love it because they love the expo markers and all that stuff. Then I have them take a picture of their graph, and then I have them insert it into a Google Slide. And the nice thing is then I can see all their practice, and it's a way that kids are collaborating, and it works so well. So let me pull that up right now. Let's see here.
She's working on sharing it, Cheryl. Give her 1 second.
Yeah. Sorry, I've had like mom roll on and teacher roll on all day, and hold on. Where is it? I started going through my Google Classroom and
That's okay. Does anybody else have anything that you might want to share until she's looking for it? Because I know a lot of people have some great ideas out there. And they've definitely said one thing you want to think about is if you make
hold on.
a screencast of directions for your students that's in your Google Classroom, then they can go back and look at those over and over again. You don't have to keep giving the same directions over and over again. And if you have a special ed teacher that happens to be in your room, maybe she wants to do a screenshot or a screencast of the worksheet that you guys are working on with audio directions for the students, so then they can pull up that video and know what parts you're talking about and listen to it over and over again, so you're not repeating yourself all day. So do we have any other questions right now? Does anybody else have anything they would like to share on their Google Classroom?
So Tiff, last night I was talking to Tracy Pinter, and she shared with me how you could do your emoji, your Bitmojis on your Google Classroom as your picture.
That was Palmer, yeah, Tracy Palmer.
Sorry,
Yeah.
wrong Tracy.
That's
So-
okay. I know. I wanted her to share that today. But
So I did myself on the beach, because you know that's my happy place.
oh, can you share? You want to share that real quick if you can? And I think Bitmojis are amazing because a lot of teachers do not want to share a picture of themselves. But if you're a cartoon, there you go. So you can actually take this and save it and put it up for your students. And then you can actually type in here, add text. And what Tracy had done is she put a link inside here that said, click here. And it took them to a Google form where the kids could fill out some information that she wanted. So I think they're pretty cool. And
And
I know a lot of people, and just like me, I'd rather have my Bitmoji up there than an actual picture of myself. So
I think that Alice Keeler actually has a Google Classroom template for the header, so you could make your own for each classroom if you wanted to.
There's a video out too. That's where I watched the video last night to do it.
pretty cool.
But it's not from Alice Keeler, it was from someone else.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, there's a lot out there. And I just want you to think of your Google Classroom as your student's desk. And all the stuff that you put in the classroom is what they can build on and take out and learn from. So do we have any more questions?
Hi, Tiff. It's Heather.
Hi.
The only other thing I was going to say that I really use Google Classroom a lot for too is that whenever the district or the school sends out like a survey that they need like all of 8th grade or all of 7th grade to complete, lots of times I just drop the link in Google Classroom, because then the kids can't ever say like, we didn't get the link, we didn't do it. I say it's in Google Classroom, here's the name of it, and they're able to find it really quickly.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Because sometimes
right.
they're not easy to find.
Hey, is it okay if I share screen? I apologize. My
Sure.
son
No, go ahead.
biffed out on the floor. The dog spilled some water, so I was dealing with that among the other things too.
Nope, share your screen.
All right. So what I did was, when I talked about it, I converted into Google Classroom an assignment. It was a Google Doc, and it would open up to this. So this is when we were graphing systems of equations. So what I did was I had 3 sets, and each group would be set a set, and they would click the link, and it would take them to a blank Google slide template. And then from there, this is the one set. I gave directions. They put their name. So this group worked on it, and actually they sent me another one for some reason. But basically, they would solve the equation, whatever the equation was. So this was, if you look, there's 4 sets for solving systems of equations. So they found the x and the y intercept for both. And then I couldn't find the one that I graded from this group in the pinch, but they would put their intersection, and then when they would graph it, they would also insert their picture to the right in the slide so I could see. And I'll look back real fast and try to find the ones that have been shared. But like I said, I was just in a huge hurry. But
That's okay.
kind of
Maybe you
what
can share that link with us and we'll add it in for later if that's
Oh,
okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. But that's
Yeah.
what I do with a lot of different things. I've been trying to go through my drive and organize it, and like it's
That's
kind of
okay.
in that chaos set.
That's
of
right. So I have a
organization.
question for you. Since you have 7th and 8th graders, how much work was it for you to teach them how to insert the picture?
The first time, not gonna lie, it took like 10 minutes, going. But now it was super easy. And actually, to be honest with you, some of my hardest students to get focused and wanting to do stuff, they were the ones that said, hey, can we just do it and take pictures and post it? And, instead of doing a worksheet or something else, they like doing this.
Yeah, our
And
students
it was a
definitely like
lot
to take
easier the
pictures.
second and third time around.
Yeah, it's that first time that gets you.
Right. But even after, you spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes on the front end, it's a lot easier on the back end.
Yep, I agree.
And I remember talking to Adam Welcome, and, he had mentioned doing stuff like this, because all the skills that they learn to do this stuff versus just pen and paper,
Right, and I think we're saving those high school teachers time if we actually start younger
Right.
and start to teach them some of these skills.
Right.
So, okay, well, that's all we have for today.